What if everything you know about love is wrong? What if the endless parade of dating apps and social media posturing is leading you further away from genuine connection? We are conditioned to believe that love is a magical experience that will complete us. But the truth is, love is not a destination, it's a journey. Over 2,000 years ago, in the bustling marketplace of ancient Athens, a lone figure challenged conventional wisdom with shocking pronouncements and outrageous behavior. This was Diogenes of Sinope, a philosopher who rejected societal norms and chose to live in a barrel, embracing a life of radical simplicity and truth-seeking. Known for his acerbic wit and disdain for material possessions, Diogenes became a thorn in the side of Athenian society, constantly challenging their values and exposing their hypocrisy. Diogenes believed that true happiness lay not in the pursuit of wealth, status, or even romantic love, but in living in accordance with nature. He saw through the artificial constructs of society, recognizing them as distractions from what truly mattered: self-sufficiency, inner peace, and living a virtuous life. While Diogenes' methods may have been extreme, his message was profound. He urged people to question everything, to reject societal expectations, and to live authentically. By examining his unconventional wisdom, we can begin to challenge our own assumptions about love and forge a more authentic path towards finding connection and fulfillment. What if the cure for modern dating woes isn't a new app or a magic pickup line? What if it lies in the wisdom of a philosopher who lived in a barrel? Diogenes' radical philosophy offers a refreshing antidote to modern dating anxieties. He would scoff at our obsession with dating apps and online profiles. Instead, he urges us to cultivate inner strength and self-worth. Be bold in authenticity and seek partners who value the real you. This is the path to finding love that is real, lasting, and fulfilling. Imagine a world before Instagram influencers, before carefully curated online personas, and the relentless pursuit of likes and followers. Now, picture a man, clad in rags, living in a barrel in the middle of the bustling Athenian marketplace, who by today's standards would be considered the ultimate social media rebel, Diogenes of Sinope. This wasn't a publicity stunt. This was his life. He had no interest in the trappings of wealth, status, or social media fame, which he would have undoubtedly ridiculed as a fool's game. Instead, he dedicated his life to exposing the hypocrisy and absurdity of the world around him. Diogenes was the original anti-influencer, a man who rejected everything that society held dear: material possessions, social status, and even basic hygiene. He lived his life on his own terms, challenging conventional wisdom at every turn and exposing the emptiness of a life lived in pursuit of superficial desires. He would have reminded us that true happiness and fulfillment come not from external validation, but from within. Diogenes didn't just talk the talk. He walked the walk, or perhaps more accurately, he squatted the squat. He famously lived in a large ceramic jar, a discarded wine barrel, in the middle of Athens. This wasn't a temporary publicity stunt. This was a deliberate rejection of material possessions and the societal pressure to accumulate wealth. He believed that true freedom came not from owning things, but from detaching oneself from the desire for them. This principle extended to all aspects of his life, from his simple clothing to his meager diet. He lived off the charity of others, begging for his food and relying on the kindness of strangers. This wasn't out of laziness, but a conscious decision to free himself from the constraints of conventional employment and the pursuit of wealth. He believed that by simplifying his life, he could focus on what truly mattered, cultivating his mind, living virtuously, and seeking wisdom. Diogenes was a man of the people, a philosopher who preferred the bustling marketplace to the hallowed halls of academia. He saw the world as his classroom, and every interaction, no matter how mundane or uncomfortable, as an opportunity for learning and self-discovery. He believed that truth was often hidden in plain sight, and that it was his duty to expose it, no matter the cost. He wasn't afraid to speak truth to power, often challenging those in positions of authority with his sharp wit and scathing critiques. He famously met Alexander the Great, who, impressed by the philosopher's reputation, asked if there was anything he could do for him. Diogenes, who was basking in the sun, simply replied, "Yes, get out of my sunlight." This bold response, a testament to his belief that even the most powerful men were subject to the same basic human needs, cemented his reputation as a fearless truth-teller. His methods, though often shocking and provocative, were always aimed at one thing: illuminating the truth, no matter how inconvenient or uncomfortable it might be. Diogenes was a master of psychological warfare, using unconventional tactics to challenge societal norms and expose the absurdity of human behavior. He believed that true freedom came from freeing oneself from the shackles of social conditioning, and he wasn't afraid to use unconventional, often shocking methods to achieve this. One of his most famous stunts involved him masturbating in the public square. When confronted about the impropriety of his actions, he calmly replied, "If only it were as easy to banish hunger by rubbing my belly." With this act, he was challenging the arbitrary nature of social taboos, highlighting the absurdity of condemning a natural act while celebrating more destructive behaviors like greed and violence. He often engaged in behaviors that were considered socially unacceptable, such as eating in the marketplace or defecating in the theater. These weren't acts of madness, but calculated provocations designed to force people to question their own ingrained sense of propriety. By challenging societal norms and engaging in seemingly outrageous behavior, Diogenes was forcing people to confront their own prejudices and question the validity of the rules they lived by. Diogenes may have lived centuries ago, but his legacy as the ultimate contrarian, the original anti-influencer, continues to resonate today. His simple life, stripped bare of material possessions and societal expectations, serves as a powerful reminder that true happiness and fulfillment come not from external validation, but from within. He challenged us to question everything, to live authentically, and to never be afraid to stand out from the crowd. His teachings, though often delivered with a healthy dose of wit and sarcasm, hold profound truths about the human condition. He recognized the absurdity of chasing after wealth and status, the emptiness of a life lived in pursuit of material possessions. He understood that true freedom came not from having more, but from wanting less. In a world obsessed with image, Diogenes' message is more relevant than ever. Remember the legacy of the barrel dweller, and dare to be different. Diogenes, the master of subversion, didn't reserve his sharp wit solely for societal norms. He turned his gaze towards love, seeing it as a frivolous distraction. Love, he believed, was the occupation of the idle. For Diogenes, true happiness stemmed from self-reliance, not fleeting affections. Diogenes saw love as enslavement, a trap for discerning minds. He observed people becoming slaves to desires, sacrificing well-being for fleeting pleasure. Men, consumed by lust, showered affection, often receiving little in return. They compromised values, seeking approval. Diogenes believed true strength lay in mastering desires, not being ruled by them. He advocated for self-control and inner peace over fleeting romantic pursuits. The price of a broken heart. Diogenes saw heartbreak as a shattering force, leaving individuals questioning their worth. He believed detachment from romantic outcomes could prevent this pain. True happiness, he argued, comes from self-love and independence, not from finding the perfect partner. Freedom in detachment. Diogenes' philosophy of love, though seemingly unconventional, offered a radical solution to the heartache and disappointment often associated with romantic pursuits: detachment. He believed that by releasing the need for love, by detaching oneself from the outcome of romantic endeavors, individuals could experience a level of freedom and contentment that eluded even those deeply entrenched in seemingly blissful relationships. This didn't mean renouncing love altogether or embracing a life devoid of intimacy and connection. Instead, it was about shifting one's perspective, approaching love from a place of inner peace and self-sufficiency, rather than viewing it as a necessary component for a fulfilling life. Imagine, if you will, Diogenes, perched atop his earthen abode, observing the world below with a mix of amusement and pity. He would have seen those desperately seeking love as prisoners, shackled by their own desires, their happiness contingent upon the whims of others. He, on the other hand, was free. By releasing the need for external validation, by finding contentment within himself and his simple existence, Diogenes achieved a level of emotional autonomy that eluded even the most powerful men of his time. He was free to pursue his own interests, to live in accordance with his own values, unburdened by the expectations and demands often associated with romantic relationships. Building your own bread. In a world of dating apps and social media, Diogenes' ancient wisdom remains relevant. He challenges us to seek self-sufficiency and fulfillment within ourselves. Why beg for scraps when you can bake your own bread? True happiness must come from within. Build your own bread, and love becomes the icing on the cake. Fast forward a couple of millennia from the sun-drenched marketplace of ancient Athens to the neon-lit digital arenas of the 21st century. Instead of strolling through bustling crowds, we find ourselves endlessly scrolling through a sea of faces, profiles reduced to a series of carefully curated photos and witty captions. This, my friends, is the modern dating circus. A dazzling, dizzying spectacle that often leaves us feeling more empty and disillusioned than when we first entered the big tent. Imagine Diogenes, clad in his signature rags, stumbling upon a group of smartphone-wielding singles, frantically swiping left and right on Tinder. The look of bewilderment on his face would be priceless. "What strange oracles are these?" he might inquire, his voice a mix of amusement and disdain. "Do you seek wisdom or mere amusement from these glowing rectangles?" He would no doubt see right through the facade, recognizing the inherent absurdity of reducing human connection to a series of superficial swipes. He would likely scoff at our obsession with algorithms, our belief that technology can somehow predict compatibility and lead us to our soulmates. True connection cannot be quantified, he might proclaim, shaking his head at the futility of such endeavors. It is found in shared values, in intellectual sparring, in the simple act of looking into another's eyes and recognizing a kindred spirit. For Diogenes, love wasn't a game of chance, a numbers game where the more profiles you swiped, the higher your odds of finding a match. It was about authenticity, about vulnerability, about connecting with another human being on a deeper level. He would urge us to put down our phones, step away from the digital circus, and engage with the world around us. For it is in the real world, not the virtual one, that true connection is forged. The modern dating landscape promises a limitless pool of potential partners. But this abundance often leaves us feeling overwhelmed and alone. Diogenes would have recognized the folly of this pursuit. True happiness stems from wanting less. He would urge us to focus on quality over quantity. True love grows from self-acceptance and inner peace. In the world of online dating, we craft digital personas, showcasing our best angles and wittiest remarks. We present idealized versions of ourselves, hoping to attract potential suitors. But this performance can be exhausting, preventing genuine connections. Diogenes would be appalled by the artifice and staged photos. He would urge us to shed our masks and embrace our imperfections. True connection requires honesty and vulnerability. The modern dating circus is not without its share of hazards. Just as one must be wary of pickpockets and con artists at a carnival, so too must one navigate the digital dating landscape with caution. Ghosting, breadcrumbing, benching. These are just a few of the tricks and traps that await the unsuspecting dater. Imagine Diogenes, witnessing the emotional carnage left in the wake of a particularly ruthless ghosting. He would shake his head in dismay, his weathered face etched with a mixture of amusement and disgust. "Is this the extent of your courage?" he might inquire of the perpetrator. "To vanish into the ether rather than face the consequences of your actions?" He would see such behavior as a sign of weakness, a cowardly refusal to engage in honest communication. He would likely have a few choice words for those who engage in breadcrumbing, leading others on with vague promises and sporadic attention. "Do not mistake crumbs for a feast," he might warn, his voice laced with scorn. True affection requires sustenance, not mere morsels of attention. Diogenes, who valued honesty and direct communication above all else, would urge us to reject these cowardly tactics. He would encourage us to treat others with respect, to engage in open and honest communication, and to end relationships with dignity and clarity. In a world dominated by emojis and text messages, the art of meaningful conversation is fading. We hide behind screens, firing off witty texts, but rarely engage deeply. Diogenes would urge us to put down our phones and engage in the lost art of conversation. In the contemporary dating landscape, a curious phenomenon has emerged: the rise of the simp. Being kind and attentive are admirable qualities. However, the simp mindset takes these virtues to an extreme. Imagine Diogenes observing a self-proclaimed nice guy enduring disrespectful behavior. He would likely shake his head in dismay. True love and respect are based on mutual admiration and shared values. Self-respect, the antidote to simp behavior. Diogenes' philosophy centers on self-respect, dismantling the simp mindset. In a world obsessed with external validation, true happiness stems from self-worth. Diogenes would challenge men to focus on inner strength and passions. Enough! You are defined by what you desire from yourselves. Self-respect is recognizing one's inherent worth. Only then can we attract partners who value us for who we are. From doormat to deity, reclaiming your worth. The simp mindset often stems from a place of insecurity, a belief that one must earn love and affection through acts of service and constant validation. Diogenes, however, would challenge this belief, encouraging individuals to step out of the shadows of self-doubt and embrace their own inner deity. Imagine Diogenes observing a person bending over backwards to please a romantic interest, neglecting their own needs and desires in the process. He might approach them, a mischievous glint in his eye, and whisper, "Why worship at the altar of another when you yourself are worthy of adoration?" He would urge them to reclaim their power, to recognize that they are not defined by the attention or affection of another person. He would encourage them to invest in themselves, to pursue their passions, to develop their talents, and to surround themselves with people who appreciate and celebrate their unique qualities. Diogenes, who lived his life on his own terms, answering to no one, would challenge us to embrace our own inner divinity, to live as if we were the masters of our own destinies, worthy of love, respect, and admiration. The currency of confidence: investing in yourself. In the economy of love and relationships, self-confidence is a valuable currency. True confidence stems from a deep-seated belief in one's own worth and abilities. Imagine Diogenes observing a person who constantly seeks validation from others, their self-esteem hinging on the number of likes on a social media post. He would likely chuckle to himself, shaking his head at the futility of such endeavors. True confidence comes not from external validation, but from within. Invest time and energy in cultivating your own talents and passions. True confidence is built upon self-knowledge and self-acceptance. Strive to become the best version of yourself. Attract others who appreciate and value your authentic self. Unmasking manipulation, when genuine kindness is exploited. Diogenes championed self-respect and genuine connection. He understood kindness but warned against its manipulation, especially in romantic relationships. Do not mistake kindness for weakness. True strength lies in knowing one's worth. Set healthy boundaries and refuse disrespect. Surround yourself with those who uplift you. How do we translate the wisdom of Diogenes into modern dating advice? Diogenes' teachings offer insights for genuine connection in a superficial world. Think of it as a dating blueprint to transcend the game. Ditch manipulative tactics. Embrace authenticity. Be bold in your vulnerability. Share your thoughts and passions. True connection thrives on genuine self-expression. Release the need to control the outcome. Detach from desperation to be liked. Approach dating as exploration, not a high-stakes game. Your worth isn't determined by relationship status. Cultivate self-sufficiency and fulfillment within yourself. Don't rely on a partner to complete you. Embrace solitude for self-discovery and growth. In a world teeming with potential partners, both online and off, the ability to discern, to distinguish between genuine connection and fleeting infatuation is paramount. Diogenes, with his sharp wit and keen eye for hypocrisy, would urge us to become discerning daters, to look beyond the superficial, and to recognize the qualities that truly matter in a partner. Don't be swayed by grand gestures, lavish gifts, or empty compliments. These are often tools of manipulation, designed to impress and disarm rather than to express genuine affection. Instead, pay attention to actions, to consistency, to how a person treats you when the cameras are off and the audience has gone home. Look for someone who challenges you intellectually, who engages with your mind as well as your heart. Seek out a partner who shares your values, who supports your dreams, and who encourages you to become the best version of yourself. And remember, true love is not about finding someone who completes you, but about finding someone who complements you, who enhances your life without diminishing your own sense of self. The most radical act in love is becoming whole and complete, worthy of love and respect. Embrace your imperfections. Celebrate your quirks. Cultivate your passions. Surround yourself with uplifting people. Invest in personal growth as an act of self-love. You are complete and deserving of love and happiness, just as you are. Craving more ancient wisdom? Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's keep questioning everything, just like Diogenes.